with elections fast approaching, politicians are out garnering support for their various parties. ANC Deputy President Paul Mashatile is on the campaign trail out in Cape Town. Now, the ANC lost power in the Western Cape back in 2009, and the Democratic Alliance has since governed the province from then. Now, this is despite the fact that the party has strongholds in some of the townships on the Cape Flats. Currently, the ANC is the official opposition in both the provincial legislature and in the city of Cape Town and the metro. Our reporter Abra Barbier is currently covering this story for us, and she's live with us now. Abra, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Look, how is the ANC Deputy President's campaign trail going in the mother city?
Alicia, yes, you are correct. We are going into a very, very busy season, and it's going to be a very busy weekend for journalists working in Cape Town this weekend because the Deputy President of the country will be on the campaign trail for the ANC. This is an ANC event happening tonight. We are in Langa, one of the oldest townships in Cape Town. Quite a special place, Langa, also the home of many well-known famous artists and political activists coming from the Western Cape, Brenda Fassie being one of them, if I recall correctly. So the Deputy President is here today. He is meeting with religious leaders this evening. Right now, we are we're going to be listening to chaplains and pastors and leaders from various churches in this area, and they will be discussing their role in the electioneering and what they will be doing. They're basically here to show their support to the ANC. So this is the first leg of the president's outing tonight, the first leg of his campaigning. You can see quite a lot of religious leaders behind me, you know, men of the cloth, women of the cloth behind me. And then later on, we are going to be joining the Deputy President and the Muslim Judicial Council. They are going to be having iftar together, so they're going to be breaking their fast together. Tonight, of course, is a very special night for the Islamic community. It is the last Friday of Ramadan. So the Deputy President will be sitting down with the MJC leaders. I think he was there last year as well. And what obviously is interesting about that leg of today's events is that the issue with Palestine and Israel, it's bound to come up. It's an issue that people in the Western Cape are very passionate about. We know the politics around it, and this is probably going to be on the agenda tonight when the Deputy President meets with the MJC. But we will be there as well, of course, and then we will be reporting back to you about what we heard here at this first part of his evening, and then later on at the MJC as well. Alicia?
Very interesting, Abra. I mean, when we talk about, of course, the fact that the DA is currently, the governing party in that province, and also their stance with Israel, particularly in what you've just mentioned now, as you know, there are those current talks about ceasefires and so forth, as well as South Africa's involvement in trying to ensure that the war in Gaza actually comes to a halt. So let's talk about the ANC turnout. We know this is a DA stronghold, the city of Cape Town. So talk to us about the current type of supporters that you are seeing there, and what kind of challenges then are these people saying that they are facing, and would hope that the ruling party actually addresses them in the upcoming polls.
Alicia, I lost you there, so I'm not quite sure what exactly you asked, but I think you asked about what people are saying. Look, the turnout here at the moment, we don't have lots of people, but it is a Friday evening, so people might still be, piling in as the evening goes by once they start hearing who is going to be here. And I think from what I've seen, I don't think that there's been much electioneering, or maybe there has been, but it hasn't been on as big a scale. I suppose that's still going to be happening, as the weeks go by. I think the DA will be very active here this weekend as well. And then, yes, the Israel-Palestine issue in the Western Cape. We know the stance of the DA. We know the clashes that have gone down between the city of Cape Town and Palestinian supporters over the last few weeks, where protests or gatherings were basically shut down. And that is a very interesting point, is how much of the Islamic community, not only the Islamic community, because there are people from all faiths who have, shown their support for Palestine. So how much of that community will the DA still be able to hold on to now in the face of what is happening in the Middle East? So that is definitely something to be looking out for. And we do know of the ANC's ties with the MJC here in the province. The ANC regularly meets the president of the country as well. They regularly meet with the MJC in the country. I mean, Deputy President breaking fast with the MJC and the Muslim community tonight. It's not a new thing. So it's a very, very cordial relationship there. So that is going to be a very, very interesting aspect to monitor as we go, further into the election campaigning period. Alicia?
Abra, I wanted to know, what are some of the challenges, that the people, for example, where you said that you are in Langa. What are some of the key challenges that the people of Langa, as well as other townships that feel that they're not necessarily serviced by the DA, would actually want the ANC to resolve post the May 29th poll?
So Langa is where there was a project, I think it was around 2004, if I recall correctly. There was a massive housing project that went down here in Langa called the N2 Gateway Housing Project. And it started during the ANC's time in the Western Cape, and then it was taken over when the DA came into power. So I think it was in 2006 when that housing project was basically launched. I remember I was here the day that they cut the ribbons to the first houses. So housing is a huge issue. There were big challenges in terms of rehousing people so that these homes could be built. But a whole lot of houses have just sprung up along the N2 here in Langa. But as we drove through the area, the issue of backyard dwellers, it's still very, very prevalent here. There have also been issues of people who were recipients to these homes complaining about the quality of the homes here. So it's the ongoing everyday issue of the lack of housing in areas such as Langa. Racial relations in this area is also quite controversial. Langa and Bonteheuwel, which is traditionally a coloured area, is separated by one big road, and that road is the only thing that basically comes between the two communities. And because of our history, because of our legacy, there have always been tensions between the coloured community on the one side and the predominantly Xhosa community on the other side. So that's another ongoing issue that we battle with here in the Western Cape, is that cohesion between those two communities. And of course, the party who can prove to sort of, bring communities together, I think that is the party who will be the most successful, because if they can get people all singing from the same hymn sheet, and I'm talking about across cultures, across races, across religions, I think that is the party that will be the most successful here, because, the Western Cape, it's a melting pot. You find everybody from every background in the Western Cape, and cohesion, social cohesion here, it is a problem. So, those are the issues that we are dealing with here in the Western Cape and also in Langa.